right, our next resolution is a resolution in support of Pride Month. Can I get a motion with respect to that resolution? Go ahead, Kristen.
I move that the board approve the resolution in support of Pride Month, June 2023.
Can I get a second? Looks like Jim. Yeah, who would like to read the resolution? Go ahead, Kristen.
Whereas Pride Month is celebrated in June to commemorate the Stonewall riots that took place on June 28, 1969, and their impact in being a galvanizing force within the movement for the LGBTQIA+ rights. And whereas the following year and every year since, cities around the world hold pride marches and celebrations to continue the fight for equal rights for all LGBTQIA+ individuals, create a community of joy and acceptance, and celebrate the history of the movement before, during, and after the Stonewall riots. And whereas Poudre School District is committed to providing a safe and supportive learning environment where all students, employees, and community members are welcomed for who they are, regardless of their sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. And whereas the Poudre School Board wholeheartedly embraces PSD's LGBTQIA+ students, employees, and community members for the diversity they bring to our schools and workplaces, and strives to ensure that they are seen, accepted, and celebrated for who they fully are. Now, therefore, it be it resolved that the Poudre School District Board of Education does hereby proclaim the month of June 2023 as Pride Month in Poudre School District and encourages students, staff, and the community to support, honor, and celebrate the excellence and enriching contributions made from our LGBTQIA+ communities of the past and present, and denounce discrimination and harassment of the LGBTQIA+ community.
Excellent, thank you. All right, I believe we have someone here to speak with us about this, but just to be clear, we're going to do the photo after the vote. Go ahead, Scott.
Again, I want to welcome back David Ottenreith. He's here to speak to the Pride Month resolution. Again, it's David Ottenreith, our PSD's Director of Language, Culture, and Equity. Welcome back, David.
Thank you again, Assistant Superintendent Nielsen and the Board of Education for having me back for introducing this resolution. Pride Month gives us the annual opportunity to recognize and celebrate our LGBTQIA+ community for their strength, resiliency, advocacy, and the progress they have deserved and earned since the 1969 Stonewall Uprising. This year, we cannot ignore the juxtaposition of this and the record high number of anti-LGBTQI+ bills that have been introduced and signed into law in our nation. Yet, in the face of this, our LGBTQI+ students, staff, and families continue to honor their authentic selves, know their worth, and grow their capacity to love themselves and others. That is something to be proud of, and in PSD, we are proud of you, we value you, and you belong here. Tonight, I am honored to introduce our student speakers for the Pride Resolution. The first one is from our Futures Lab, and student Rin will come up and speak to us.
Okay, hello everyone, thank you for having me. I'm 17, a trans-masculine person. I use he, him, and they, them pronouns. I believe LGBTQ+ students should get to be celebrated just like anyone else. And at the very least, they should have spaces to feel comfortable and safe and welcome to be themselves. Even going to school can be scary when you feel that people are going to look at you differently just for being yourself. It's terrifying and uncomfortable to walk out in public and know there may be people who want to hurt you if they find out who you are. And while we can't change the whole world, we can do our part in education. I'm thankful to have people who do respect me. And if there's anything I've learned over the past few years, it is that you can respect someone while not fully understanding or relating to them. Expression, identity, and preferences are only parts of who we are as human beings. That being said, extra support may be needed for LGBTQ youth, especially because we live in a world where harm comes the greatest to those who are different. Respecting titles like pronouns and preferred names are important to ensure that an individual feels comfortable. My mouth is getting dry. Those preferred titles are up to that person, even if they are children. Children are capable of having boundaries and preferences, and I implore you to be open-minded and ready to learn with your child about these things so we can create safer spaces for everyone, even if your child is not part of the LGBTQ community. Often in our very polarizing society, instead of embracing and celebrating differences, people use them as new reasons to divide each other. Battling biases and things you were taught growing up can be very difficult, but it is never impossible. There's always room for change, and thank you. You just need to allow yourself the room to do so. It's okay to make mistakes. The most important part is learning from them. And while we have made great strides for the community, there's always more to fight for, especially this year with so many anti-LGBTQ bills being proposed and approved. And of course, there's always more to learn. I believe change begins with education. How are you supposed to fight if you don't know what you're fighting for or why you are fighting for it? To continue creating safer spaces, we need to normalize these conversations, not only talking civilly, but normalizing curiosity. Being curious and asking questions for the sake of understanding further. Find more ways to connect, build support, and fight alongside your community. Your community needs you. Continue to learn and educate yourself, and please remember to act with respect, open-mindedness, and kindness toward all. That's all I have.
Thank you, Red. And now we are going to turn this over to Mazi, who will speak to us also from Futures Lab.
Thank you for having me here today. Most Americans learn about LGBTQ plus people through the media, and typically what they learn is negative information. This leads to misunderstanding, and when we don't understand something, it creates fear, and fear can create hatred. This is why it is so important to support LGBTQ plus students and provide spaces for them to be heard. When we learn different things that challenge our beliefs, we expand our knowledge and grow as individuals. As individuals, we all have our own identities and wish to be seen and heard from the communities we are a part of. When people aren't accepted for certain or multiple identities they hold, it leads to feelings of depression, loneliness, anxiety, and worthlessness. 45% of LGBTQ plus youth considered attempting suicide in 2022. School can be the only place students go to get support. This is why the social aspect of gender-affirming care, which is honoring students' names and pronouns, providing support and inclusivity, and allowing them to express themselves, is so important. At Futures Lab, I have always felt respected, and I know that my identities matter there. When I changed my name, the teachers at Futures Lab all made an effort to call me that. I would not be as confident in my identity if I wasn't a student at Futures Lab. I enjoy being in class and learning much more than I did at my regular high school because of this. To become more comfortable with LGBTQ plus people, we should be around them, seek out resources for them and ourselves, and most importantly, not let our fear and misunderstandings control us. We should want to learn more about people different from ourselves and grow to be better. And I say we, because even though I am a transgender person who is a part of the LGBTQ plus community, I cannot represent every experience of the community, because we are all different, which is why we need to continue to provide voices and opportunities for everyone so that we can be heard and honor our differences that bring us together.
Would any members of the board like to make remarks? Go ahead, Nate.
Wow, those two speeches were very powerful. Thank you for being here and speaking your truth. And it can be a little uncomfortable for people that are well-meaning yet fairly ignorant about these issues. And so I appreciate you highlighting what you did so that we can all try to be better. Thank you.
Great. Other remarks from the board, questions or comments? Go ahead, Kristen.
Yeah, Rin and Mazi, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your stories, sharing yourselves, sharing your authentic selves. It's a beautiful thing to see, and I just love it. It makes my heart soar. And to the folks that came with you today, I am amazingly proud, and I want people to see the future. Adriana, Rin, Mazi, this is our future. Look how well we are set for our future. It's beautiful, and I just want to thank you for that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oops, sorry. Other comments from the board? All right, Jill, if you would call a vote on this resolution, I'd appreciate it.
DJ Anderson,
Aye.
Jim Brokish,
Aye.
Nate Donovan,
Aye.
Kristen Draper,
Aye.
Rob Pedersen,
Aye.
Carolyn Reed,
Aye.
Jessica Zamora.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you very much, Jill. Now it's photo time.